Hey, how's it going, man? I think today we're gonna talk about like a Chinese and Indian comparison series. And I initially did one just like basically roasting Indian people, but I think like that's just gonna get me canceled. So I just rather be um, basically talk about each situation with the Chinese, how the Chinese people deal with it, and how Indian people deal with things. So, without further ado, let's get to it. So, let's talk about driving first. A lot of people say like Asian people are bad drivers. I would say probably some ladies, maybe they're not as good, but I'm pretty sure like Indian girls are just as bad as well. So, in that part, the department, if you talk about just not very coordinated drivers, um, you know, I think it's just every single race there are just um, ladies or even men that are not coordinated drivers. And but I think as far as breaking traffic rules and things like that, I have met some Chinese people that does tell me they go really, really, really fast to go to Las Vegas or something like that. And so they could save like an hour or something like that by going 20 miles per hour over the speed limit. But at the same time, is that we have, I mean, honestly, it's just like the craziest person that has ever driven in a car that has totally endangered my life was definitely an Indian person because, he was intoxicated, got behind the wheels, went over 120 something miles per hour, and I said, like, and just kind of doing it on purpose, and just at the end, just like smile and shrug it off with a smirk on the face and saying, like, oh, you don't trust me? It's like, I don't trust anyone, at that speed. For what? You know what I'm saying? And one small mistake or one puncture in the tire, it's all over. You know what I'm saying? That's why, like, there's so many, like, silly. I mean, there are a lot of smart, like, Indian people, but, like, these smokes just everywhere, and they are, like, more and more because now they're opening up the borders. So these type of people are going coming in. I've seen some Chinese people that drive really fast, but just a lot less, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of Asians who just more observant to the traffic rules somewhat, you know what I'm saying? At least like nothing too outrageous, you know? So number one is that I think also like I have a couple of other stories too about traffic rules. Um, where I know like a for sure a Indian person that has allowed their family actually allowed the kid to drive when he was like 14, 15. So he hasn't gotten the driver's license and he's just driving around, you know. But I mean, thank God that he didn't get caught. He was okay and nothing really bad happened. Yeah, I mean, so that's the thing, like that happens with a lot, man, like with Indian people, man. So I think with that said, let's move on to the second thing is that let's move on to the work ethics. Now, a lot of Indian people work really hard and get career ethics, things like that. But as far as office politics, let's talk about office politics. They are meant to lobby a lot, you know, and I really don't like that, because they are not using their really like, you know what I'm saying? They're using like their swagger, the way they could kiss up the boss, those type of things. and to get ahead. And if you're wondering why a lot of these what's called CEOs are like that, it's because they did such a thing. Kiss up the bosses. A lot of I don't know why people like it. You know what I'm saying? Why people love white folks like upper management love like Indian, you know, um, basically bum bum kissers. You know, so I don't really like that because it's not pure competencies. And so a lot of them think that why or India is have so many great people, so many great CEOs. It has a lot to do with that as well, you know, a lot of bum kissing. But I'm sure there are some that are really good. Sure, of course, you know what I'm saying. I always give people benefit of the doubt, but I tell you what, another thing that really, really drives you crazy is that, first of all, if you're not Indian, they wouldn't, you know, in certain companies, it's very hard for them to really promote you, or they wouldn't put you in the same level. I've been in some big companies where there have a lot of Indians, a lot of other sects, and they only promote their own people. You know what I'm saying? They only watch out for their own people, promote their own people. That's like, you know what I'm saying? First of all, that's not very good. So they actually also promote only Indians with their own sect. So if they're Christian Indian, they're all Christian Indians promoting each other, things like that are from the same places. And then, you know what? If you are Tamil, you know, you speak Tamil, they don't like you. You know what I'm saying? You're too dark, too dark. I don't want to talk to you. You know what I'm saying? It's like they are like segregating their own people in the workforce. You know what I'm saying? You see like people just like to look at each other at disgust, you know? And what I hear a lot of times behind people's back is like, oh, that Indian guy, yeah, he's too dark. Dude, you're dark to me, and you're telling me that he's too dark, you know what I'm saying? It's just, to me, I don't really get it, you know? There are some dark Chinese people, I don't say like, man, you're too dark. I shouldn't employ you. You know, that would be unthinkable, but they do such a thing to their own people. If you work enough, long enough, then you see that. They might even say it, you know, but it's not fun. I don't really like it, you know. I don't really like the way they discriminate their own people. Let's not even say like they discriminate me. I'm saying like I don't like they discriminate in their own kinds or their own religions, you know. So if they're Christian Indians, they don't like Hindi Indians. If they are Christian, like if they're Hindi Indians, they don't like Hindus Indians. They don't like um, the Muslims. You know, so all these things is just I find it like really weird. Okay, so the next thing is religion. Okay, difference between Indians and Chinese in religion is that I think to tell you the truth, today the Chinese are very tamed in superstitions and stuff like that. They still have some superstitions, maybe feng shui, Buddhism, whatever, you know. But when it comes to money, money comes first, studying comes first in the Chinese world, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't, there's a priority, you know, if your life is effing up, go study more, you know, go try to make more money. You know, that's the way we see things, and that's the way we think. But for Indians, it's not might not be like that as well. Maybe it's a God problem. You know, like you're not worshiping somebody. You know, like you it's like they have a shrine and start worshiping something and start worshiping idols and stuff like that. You know, and so to get out of the problem. Not the saying that Chinese people don't do that. They also kind of have like their own localized gods or whatever. But we don't really have that. You know, we don't really have like we have to be responsible for our own selves, and that moves on to the next thing, which is civic sense. Now, civic sense, I would actually also relate that with common sense, which nobody really talks about. That Indians Sometimes Chinese, especially Chinese back in the days, have no common sense. Now, what's common sense is basically general knowledge of basic survival. And honestly, I think it's because of the fact that these things are um, the common sense is it's the Chinese common sense has grew significantly in recent years, where you see less people that's like look less people don't look and cross the street. You see less people that doing very dangerous stunts for no reason. You see less like people that um, try to like litter everywhere because they know like it's gonna hurt the environment. They're gonna hurt the street. They hurt the community. You're gonna see less people that um, take a douche, in the public because people could film them. They could get on the internet, and their family would be ashamed. Those type of things. Because Chinese has improved, so it's not like we don't do what the Indians people do, but however, um, we know there are consequences. But while like quite honestly, a lot of South Asians, my past experience, like recently even with Bangladesh people, it's like they have no common sense, man. You know what I'm saying? It's because the ignorance has swindled and ingrained in them so hard that they lose that sense. Like they lose that sense of responsibility. They lose that sense of awareness, and it's the awareness that they don't have. But I think I kind of understand that because in India, has never been really that many serious war. That they're in a warring state, where they're in a surviving state, where there are numerous bombings, where there are numerous like deaths. Like if your death is can be prevented by um, uh, deaths can be pretended by smartness, acumen, awareness, then that's okay. But like they don't really have that, so that's why the population grew and grew and grew. But like because there was no purge and purge and purge. So making not very well made people continue to live. Yeah. And the worst thing about this is like not as much on Indians, but like on maybe Pakistanis, is that there are cousin marriages as well. So which really deteriorates even more if you already have poor civic sense. Imagine if you have low intelligence and poor civic sense together and low common sense. It's just a very, very, very dangerous combinations. What's like some of these South Asians, would think and do. You never know. And so that's 'kay, I mean, this is the thing that I actually get a lot of times. Asking people from India, like they would randomly talk about a Chinese person or even an Asian person sometimes, and expect me to know that person. Um, you have to understand that like just China alone is 1.3 billion people. There's no way that I would know a random Chinese person. Yeah, so first of all, it's like that. Second is that Chinese and Japanese and Koreans that's different. They're somewhat similar. They have some lineage that is similar, but we are different people. You know what I'm saying? We actually, to tell you the truth, we actually look different. So, despite the fact that there are similarities, we are different actually people. You know? literally, because like a lot of times we could just tell, by another person. Just have some, when there's some cues, definitely we could pick it up really quickly. They are of another race. So it's insane that they, um, is an ignorant behavior. It's an ignorant behavior. And moving on, man. Moving on, man. What should we be talking about? Eating, food. We both eat rice, so which is something we have in common. But however, the ratio of meat today for Chinese has increased a lot for past 20, 30 years, and the awareness of health has increased a lot as well. So people are going to the gym, people are trying to be healthy. I've seen like lots of women, they just jog every single day. They're like out jog me by like many kilometers, and I see that all the time. People care about their appearance. People care about their looks. People care about a lot of things. So when it comes to like, you know, attractiveness, health, all those things, like Indians are really lagging behind. Um, you're not you're not gonna find like diet thumbs up. It's still like a full sugar coated like thumbs up. Maybe it's their diet. Let's go check it out. I don't know, man. I've never seen one. But I do go to the Indian store sometime. Back in the days, I do still go to the Indian store. I thought it's very interesting. But now that recently I've seen how it was made, and sometimes I even actually see even a lot of the like there's like dust. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes there's dust in food and things like that, and I just find it kind of dirty, and so like I don't shop in Indian stores anymore as a result. So literally, if you think I'm a hater, I'm really not, but really I just like it's a diet thumbs up. Maybe there's one nowadays, man. Thumb is X Force. Yeah, they have one now. Man, it took them so many years. That 2025. That's when they actually got it. 2025. You see it? Yeah. I mean, that's actually how slow things are really going in like India. How little progress that's been made. Um, about India in general. I'll tell you another thing that India and Chinese have in difference is that, let me think. Well, I mean, overall, mm, they're more like Chinese is still like all of East Asians. They're avid into like if you actually look at classical music musicians over here, you see a lot is actually all Chinese composers, performers. These type of Lang Lang, Yu Zhang Wang, um, all these people are in classical music. Let's see if there's any Indians in it. Yeah, there's some, but like definitely, but they are not classical. They're Hindus. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, they're not really interested in other races, you know? As a result, so actually, they create a lot of ignorance, you know? So, like, going back to why they are ignorant is because they're not interested in other people's culture, other people's religion, other people's things. Oh, I don't know. It's not my religion. I don't care about that. Even for you see like a lot of the literature classes in America, where they should actually have a head start with knowing English as one of the one and a half first language, right? And then because they really treat English as one of the first language, but you realize that a lot of times Chinese actually outperform them in English writing literatures, in most of the classes, right? On honestly, English classes. It's just simply because they're not very interested. Now in my class, I remember there were two distinct Indian girls that were doing very, very, very well, um, in the English class. But I think it's an exception. Like after I've studied and seen like a huge cohort of like Indians in another university, then you realize like a lot of their English skill is actually really, really, really bad, or they're just not interested in it. You know, they're not interested in studying English literature, things like that. So, yeah. Mm, well, I mean, yeah, what can I say? I mean, it's not like Chinese people are better than Indians. It's just I think it's just the past 20 something years we have improved, and then we are literally talking about slightly different things. It's not Indian hasn't improved, but I just feel like as a race we're just kind of going forward, you know. And I think Indians are like still fighting on like politics, corruption, religion, you know, different ethnicity, different caste, different I don't know. I'm like they have so many like weird things that are over there, and I think like it's not necessarily. I think a lot of them have a lot of synergy either, you know. So versus for Chinese people, they argue too. It's not like Chinese people do not argue, but they don't. They're not like as chaotic as sometimes Indians. That's all I could say, man. I mean, I think I think the organization skill that the Chinese person can possibly possess is a lot higher. And they listen to a leader. You know what I'm saying? They have a leader. Sometimes they listen to her or him. And in the chaos and you know like with the chaotic people, they still can navigate and try to figure something out. So that's what I think honestly. Alright, man. So thanks very much. See you guys later.